Today on Ballistic Burgers, by request, I am going to be revealing my personal top 10 burgers. The top 10 burgers that I have created over the years. Let's get going. I've had a lot of people ask me to do a video covering my top burgers, my favorite burgers, and that's a tall order for me. So I created a while back a list of my favorite burgers. I realized, man, a lot of my favorite burger lists are copycat burgers that I've created. And I think one of the metrics that put them on that favorite list was because I was very proud of myself at the end results of the copycats. So I'm going to do this list, and it's not all copycats, but I think I'm going to have to create another video of my favorite burgers that I've actually created that are my designs, my recipes. Let's go ahead and start with, and by the way, these aren't in any particular order. I was just going down again my favorites playlist, and I was picking out burgers that definitely resonated with me, that definitely kind of invoked this reaction from me during the taste test or whatever. So we're going to kick it off with the Mission Burger out of San Francisco. And this comes from the Mission Bowling Club. It's more of a burger joint, kind of a bar, kind of a place. And it has a few lanes. I want to say like 4 lanes. I might be wrong on the number of lanes. But that burger definitely resonated with me when I tried my recreation. The burger consists of a ½ pound of brisket and chuck. Caramelized onions, has a really good aioli burger sauce that has capers in it, and there's a ton of melted jack cheese just melting over the sides of this burger. And I think one of the things that, I mean, this is a minor thing, but it was pretty cool, and it actually had an effect on the overall experience eating this burger, is they cut the top of the crown off and then toast that. So you get that toast, that Maillard reaction toast on the top of the bun that you're smelling, and also experiencing the crunch when you're eating it and that savoriness. But then they also toast, you know, the insides of the sliced buns. The patty is a nice thick patty. It's cooked on a flat top. And this was one of the many burgers that in its history had been voted as best burger in the US. And it is definitely worth trying. Like all of the burgers that I'm going to mention in this video, they'll all be listed down below. Next burger on my list is a Salvation Burger. This comes out of a restaurant in New York called Salvation Burger, and it's owned by Michelin chef April Bloomfield. This burger is amazing. And unfortunately, the restaurant Salvation Burger has closed permanently. So again, one of the reasons why I get so passionate about doing these copycat burger recipes and trying to, you know, really get as accurate as I can is because so many of them close. And that's happened to more than one of the burgers in this particular list. The patties are very thin, and they're smashed in tortilla presses, which I love that technique. Actually, before I made the video on this, there were 2 other burgers that were smashed in tortilla presses like that. And there's some cool things you could do with them, like she did in this particular recipe. And that is grilling those patties in a nice puddle of beef tallow on the flat top. Now, while we're talking about the tortilla press, she took a white cheese, and in my video I used a white American cheese, and basically you form it into a little ball, like a couple ounce ball, and she smashed that in the tortilla press. So you ended up with a really nice thin circular ball, slice of cheese that it just was very cool. It just added to the effect of the burger. And again, it gave it a lot of coverage, that particular technique. The sauce on this burger was just a kind of a basic mayo sauce with a few extra ingredients that just kicked it up a few notches. I have that again in the video, the recipe for the particular sauce, but it was simple and yet special. I mean, it was a really good sauce. The buns that April used were bakery fresh and heavily seeded. Again, it's fairly basic, but it just, again, made it that much more special. It's not the typical burger bun. Along with the sauce, the burger is finished with dill pickles, and fresh dill. You don't see that on a lot of burgers, and I love it when you see something on a burger that you don't normally see. So that was number 2. Now let's go to number 3. Number 3 is the Stockyard's Butter Burger. This burger holds a special place in my heart. I actually did this on the Ballistic BBQ channel 10 years ago, and I think this was probably one of the first videos that I can remember when I bit into that burger. It was like, whoa. I mean, I literally ate that entire burger standing at like my Weber grill. It was very, very good. And because, like I said, this place was out of Toronto, Canada, the Stockyards, and they also have a really, really good fried chicken there, and unfortunately, permanently closed. So this burger kind of falls into that extinct category now, which is sad. But again, one of the reasons why I do this channel, and I feel so happy that I made this burger to kind of honor the memory of the Stockyards. Hopefully they'll come back, but we never know. The Stockyards burger is heavily based on a compound butter, which consists of roasted bone marrow, of course butter, crumbled blue cheese, and a red wine reduction, topped on the burger as the burger's finishing on the grill. And it's just an explosion of butter, but also that beautiful, beautiful bone marrow flavor, and the wine reduction. It's just, it's almost difficult to explain. It's a magic burger. The burger itself, the patty's a smash burger, and it's grilled in butter. So they put down a bunch of clarified butter, seasoned clarified butter, on the flat top when they smash it. And as far as the beef, it is a ground short rib, which is one of my all-time favorite meats to grind for a burger. It's just an amazing grind. The buns are buttered and toasted, built up with a nice little piece of butter lettuce and some slices of onion that have been marinated in milk, breaded and fried like an onion ring. The next burger on my list is one that I created, and I called it the Nirvana Cheeseburger. That name came to me after I'd already tried the burger. I had another name for it, then I tried the burger, and I basically renamed it. That burger was amazing, and honestly, on this list of 10, it's way up there in the top 3. Definitely in the top 3. This could be my personal favorite burger, actually. I wanted to use a cut of meat on this burger that you don't typically see in a burger, and I went with tenderloin, with filet mignon, which everybody knows it's tender. It's very, very tender. It's a very, very popular, usually pretty expensive cut when you order it in a restaurant. But, you know, when you really go into a filet mignon, it's also lacking in flavor because it's lacking in fat. So what I did was I took cubes of filet mignon and I ground them together with cubes of fat trimmings that my butcher gave me from a New York strip loin he was trimming out. So I had a lot of fat in there. And it ended up a very high fat percentage in this grind. I didn't weigh the meat, I just was going off of thickness and again the diameter. I like to kind of gauge them off the size of the buns I'm going to use. And I grilled them on one of those, you know, an infrared griller. After the flip, I went ahead and put some shaved Parmesan cheese on there, which that was a really, really good move because you don't see a lot of burgers, cheeseburgers that are melted Parmesan. This was a really high quality Parmesan cheese, and I wanted that funk, you know, that overused umami word, but you know, I wanted that funk. I wanted to kind of work with that funk and kind of work on balancing this burger out, and I think I did a pretty damn good job. As I was building the burger, I topped it with preserved figs, you know, with the cheese and the savoriness of the beef and everything, and then that sweet fig mixing in, it just tasted amazing. And I'm not the biggest fig fan, I'll tell you that, but it just does magic when it comes to a burger. Once I had the figs on there, I topped that with very thin slices of ripened jalapeno because I wanted to, again, I was working on countering the sweetness of the fig. and that was a good call. I removed the pith and the seeds so it wasn't that hot. And again, with everything else going on, you know, you weren't getting that harsh burn of the jalapenos anyway. And then I went ahead and finished that by drizzling balsamic glaze over the top of the jalapenos and the figs and the cheese and everything, and crowned it. And I have to tell you that honestly, I mean, I'm actually starting to like have a mouth-watering experience in my mouth here thinking about this burger. I think that could very well be my #1 burger. It was that good, and maybe one of these days I'll do a redo on that. But it was amazing. It was amazing. This next burger is from Two Rivers Brewing out of Easton, Pennsylvania, and this was a really fun. It was a copycat burger for me because I had a lot of interaction with the executive chef from that restaurant. We had quite a few exchanges through email, and he was very helpful, but wasn't giving away a whole lot of the secrets. But his reaction to my video was very, very positive, and I think I came really, really close to that to their burger, including one of the ingredients that he wasn't willing to help me out with the secret. And I'll get to that in just a second here. Let me start describing this burger. So this is their peanut butter, bacon, and cheddar burger. And, you know, I've done a few peanut butter burgers now on my channel, on Ballistic BBQ and also Ballistic Burgers. And I always get these reactions like, what? You know, why are you doing that? Why are you putting peanut butter on a hamburger? And I can tell you I was the same way until I had peanut butter on a hamburger. And I have to tell you, it is absolutely amazing. You know, I always refer to Thai food. Whenever I talk about a burger with peanut butter on it, I always refer to Thai food. How wonderful the peanut sauce is on Thai food. And the magic that it does with Thai food is exactly what it does with an all-American burger. Instead of a regular sauce, this burger actually has a gastrique. The gastrique has a lot of, you know, cooked bell pepper and onions and other, you know, garlic and all sorts of good things. And it definitely gives it a different flavor. And it also works very well with the peanut butter that you put on the burger. And like I said, this is one of those standout burgers because it has so many components that you very rarely see on a burger. It's topped with pickled red onion, and the executive chef of that restaurant helped me with his technique for the pickled red onion, and that is shown to you on the video. And it's funny, I'm watching these videos and I'm thinking, I need to do more of this. You know, the main reason besides preserving these burgers in history is also it just gives the burger fan more to work with as far as when they're creating their own burger. The techniques and maybe ingredients from some of these copycats you can incorporate into your own, which I have several times, and the fig's a good example of that. Now it's also topped with peanut brittle powder. And this is what the chef was not willing to help me with, because he was explaining that they experimented with this a lot and that it would always harden up, the ground peanut brittle. So what I was thinking when I was kind of wrapping my head around what would I do is I was thinking, you know, I will coat the peanut brittle in, for some reason I went to powdered milk to keep it from sticking together, then put it in the blender. And I was sharing my thoughts with my wife about this, and she said, well, why don't you use peanut butter powder? And I had completely forgot, you know, they sell peanut butter powder to put in smoothies and shakes and everything. So I ran out, bought a jar of the peanut butter powder, kind of breaded the peanut brittle in the peanut butter powder, threw it in the blender or the food processor, ground it up, and sure enough, it did not stick together. And I, as an experiment, put it in a bowl, uncovered in my kitchen overnight, and it stayed a powder. So again, along with the pickled onions and the gastrique and everything, you're sprinkling on this peanut butter powder, the peanut brittle powder. Then of course it has bacon, white cheddar, and it's on a toasted brioche bun. This is another one of those burgers that it was the taste test. I mean, I was really happy with the way it was looking as I was building it. It was looking like burgers that they were serving in their restaurant. Once I tasted it, it was game over. It was just an awesome burger. It's honestly one of my favorites. Again, I'm thinking of top 3. The Nirvana burger, I think, is still my number 1. Another San Francisco burger made the list, and that was from a restaurant called Miller and Lux. This is a burger designed by Tyler Florence, the celebrity chef, and this is definitely a killer burger. It has a really, really good bacon onion jam. The patty is a dry-aged blend of beef. On my version, I used a 35-day ribeye. I used short rib, which was not dry-aged, but then I also threw in some trimmings from a dry-aged brisket that I did. The patty is a 9-ounce patty, and it's probably about a 75-25 fat to lean ratio, so a lot of fat, a lot of good stuff going on in this burger. And again, with that, the dry age in there, it has a nice little funky bite to it. And I can't remember whether Tyler, if all the meats were dry aged or not, but I like my call of not dry aging the short rib. So it kind of balances out the funk, so to speak. So this burger was grilled on a flat top, and it was topped with crispy shallots. So the shallots were sliced and breaded, fried like an onion ring, which was cool. Because shallots, they taste oniony, but they definitely taste a little bit different than a regular onion. The buns were brioche, and then he topped it with a cheese that they call a triple cream. It's Mount Tam was the brand, and triple cream is like a brie cheese, but it's processed a little bit different. The contents of the milk fats or something are a little bit different in the triple cream. Then instead of lettuce, Tyler Florence used watercress. It's another one of those toppings, or garnishes on a burger that you don't normally see, and I like that. The next burger on my list is very, very near and dear to my heart, out of San Diego, California. Hodad's Bacon Cheeseburger. Boss man Mike, the creator of this burger, and he owned Hodad's, unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But his memory lives on. Hodad's is one of the most popular burger joints, if not the most popular burger joint in San Diego. And the burgers are amazing. The thing I love about this burger is if I just listed the ingredients, it would just seem like a typical kind of a diner burger. But it's what Bossman Mike did with the ingredients that made this burger very, very special. And techniques that I learned a lot from that. Again, this is a burger you have to make to know what I'm talking about. But for example, the bacon's fried on a flat top, but before it's fried on a flat top, it's boiled for hours in water. And what that does is if this makes any sense, it almost superhydrates the bacon and the fat so it becomes fluffy as you're grilling it. So instead of that really crisp, kind of hard texture that you get with bacon typically, it's more like a cracklins. If you're in the South, pork cracklins kind of texture. Here in Southern California, near the Mexican border, like chicharron kind of a texture. So it's got that nice, crispy, but airy, kind of fluffy texture, and the flavor is amazing. The way the burger's built, he has his own special technique he does with the onions. He calls it an onion castle. And he kind of carefully runs a bead of ketchup on this onion. It also has mustard and mayo on it. So altogether, it makes a sauce. And the shredded lettuce to, capture and hold on to the juices. It's a genius, very basic burger. Again, just listing the ingredients, it's like, okay, what's so special about that? Well, it's the way it's made. That's what makes it special. And again, definitely one of my top 10. Next burger on my list comes from New York, and it's from a restaurant called Nowon, and it's called the Legendary Burger. And I first saw this burger I was just doing some burger research stuff, and it was a production made by Bon Appetit. And the chef, I wanted to punch him in the face because he was just coming off as being so arrogant. But I think honestly a lot, when I step back and, hindsight's 2020, I have a feeling the production, first of all, they were kind of pushing them into this direction with questions they were asking and maybe even coaching them on what to say. And then of course with the editing, you can make anybody look like an a-hole with the right editor behind the keyboard. And so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't have anything personally against him, but at the time, that's what really motivated me to make this burger, because the whole video was, you can't make this burger, and here's why. And then it was all these reasons why you can't make the burger. So I made the burger, and it was a very, very good burger. Again, it's a restaurant called Nowon, and it's called the Legendary Burger. So the restaurant Nowon is a fusion restaurant. It has a lot of Korean flavors going along with a lot of kind of traditional American flavors. This burger is built very heavily around umami. It has an umami powder seasoning, which I created, and mine's really, really good. It has roasted kimchi sauce, another burger sauce that has kimchi in it. It was a really, really good burger. I'm going to hand it to the Chef Lee. It's a really good burger. Some of the standouts were the buns. He uses buns. It's a milk bread recipe, which is, an Asian thing. I think it's actually Japanese or maybe Korean. I may be wrong. But anyway, milk bread. So he uses that same recipe to make the buns, which is what I did. I found a really good milk bread recipe and made buns. The beef is a blend of chuck, sirloin, and round. And it's 75-25 fat to lean ratio. One of the things he said, you can't do this because you can't get this meat. Well, you can do this. You can grind the meat yourself, chef. Again, I'm starting to get worked up again. It's 2 patties that are smashed, and it has house-made pickles, which I did kind of a Korean style pickle for mine, and roasted scallion, which I thought was really cool. Anyway, there's a lot of really good ingredients in this burger. I walked away with a lot of cool ideas for future self-designed burgers. It's definitely worth watching, but again, definitely one of my top 10 burgers. Next burger comes out of LA from a restaurant called Augie's on Main Street. This restaurant was created by a Michelin chef named Josiah Citron, and the burger is called The Best Burger. Really good mayo-based sauce with Worcestershire sauce in there, honey. It's got ginger, champagne vinegar, wasabi. I just love sauces that aren't your atypical burger sauce, and this definitely is that. The burger is also topped with charred onion, so it's not like fried onion, it's not caramelized onion. You're actually looking for a black char on the onions, which I like that too. I mean, it's, again, something people strive, including myself, not to burn the onions. On this one, you want to get a little bit of a burnt char on them. And again, when you're eating it all mashed together, it's magic. It's a 6-ounce patty, and it's a blend of brisket and chuck. And one of the cool and very unique things about this burger is you're spreading mayonnaise on both sides of the raw burger patty, seasoning it with salt and pepper before it hits the flat top. And it's just one of those things you need to try to experience, but I've been using the word magic a lot. But it is. It does magical things to the patty that you don't normally taste with a burger. So while it's cooking, you're topping it with some white American cheese, those charred onions, letting them get a good melt. Buns are toasted brioche. Then on the build, you're adding butter, lettuce, and heirloom tomato. It's a good burger. And now last, but certainly not least, we go to Cheval. They have 2 locations, one in New York, one in Chicago. 2 burgers, the double and the single. The single is 2 patties of beef, 1 slice of cheese. The double is 3 patties of beef, 2 slices of cheese. Each patty weighs 4 ounces, and they're cooked to medium. This burger is what I refer to as simple yet elegant. It's an elevated but still very simple burger, as you're going to see. When I made my video, I went with the double, of course, and I kicked it off with their déjeuners. And I had the opportunity to watch a video where the chef was actually talking about this déjeuners. Super simple, but really, really good. Basically, it's 3 ingredients: mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, and fresh lemon juice. And I just kind of messed around with the measurements until I came up with a consistency and a flavor that I really liked. And yeah, simple yet slightly elevated, and it really makes this burger. The patties are 4 ounces of prime beef, and what I used in my video is a really nicely marbled New York strip. These are not smash burgers. They're preforming the patties before they hit the flat top. Of course, I used my burger ring and came out with 3 perfectly circular, fairly thin patties, and very well marbled. The fat content was definitely over 80-20. For my video, I opted to do this burger what they call au Cheval way. Has 2 really, really thick slices of bacon on it and a sunny side up egg. So basically just cook the bacon, get a nice sear, get it nice and crisp. And then I pulled those bacon slices over to the cooler side of my flat top, basted both sides with maple syrup, and hit it with some freshly ground pepper. This is one thing I noticed in some of the other copycats I saw. They missed that step, but it's an important step for this burger. So like I said, this burger is simple. It's an easy burger to cook. They're using elevated ingredients. Toasted brioche buns. The patties are cooked on the flat top till medium. They're well seasoned. They're cooking the egg in a small skillet, clarified butter in there, again, sunny side up. Once the egg's done, hit it with some freshly chopped chive. As far as building this burger, buns are toasted. You hit that top bun with a nice layer of that Dijonnaise, then hit it with some finely minced red onion, followed up by a ton of very, very thinly sliced dill pickle chips all around the top of that burger. Then followed up, they serve this open face, by the way, bottom bun down with those 3 stacked patties with the cheese on top, followed up by those 2 thick slices of bacon. It is magic. That sunny side up egg with all those chives on it on top of those pickles. Open face on the plate. Of course, you bring that top bun with that egg on top of the bacon and everything, squish it down, pop that yolk, and you're in for something very, very special. Simple yet elevated. That's one of my favorite types of burgers. It's something that's not difficult to build. There's not a lot of crazy ingredients involved. Anybody that can make a basic burger can do this. It's just all about using those elevated ingredients. It's a good burger. Anyway, that does it for this top 10 video. I think those of you that made the suggestion to me, actually a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be an easy shoot, but this is going to be a little bit of a difficult video to edit, I think, but I'm up for the challenge. I'm going to have fun. I'm hoping this video isn't too long for you folks. Let me know what you think in the comments, if it should be 2 videos of 5 instead in the future. But this is a lot of fun, so thank you guys. If you're not subscribed, new to the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Thumb up the video if you like it. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and I will see you on the next burger video. Cheers.